Alright, I'm going to do a video on removing the dash here because I got to change the heater core. This is my Mercedes 1989 190E with a W201 frame's got the 2.6 liter inline 6 engine. It's torquey, it's really nice. Little history about it, you can see that this is a bit of a hurting unit. You can see the dash up in here. If I can get the right look, there we go. You can see it there. It's been pulled away a little bit. This thing flies. It's really nice shape. On the inside of the under the hood, it looks really good, and mechanically it's sound except for the heater core, which leaks. You can see the trail right there. And there's a leak in the plastic spot right up in there where that hose, see that, goes in there. And every time I turn the engine on, this leaks. So when I got this last summer, what I did was I just cut the hoses off the firewall and plugged them up, and the car ran fine. It didn't need a heater, and the car ran fine, no problem. Now it's winter time. I am going to give this car to my son, so I got to fix that heater core. There's a problem, right? There's a plastic set of rings right on the other side of this, and that's where it's leaking out. Now to get to it is a nightmare. There's nothing wrong with the heater core. It's just where the O-rings attach in a plastic piece just back here beyond this hose. I'm touching it, but I can't do anything about it because I have to remove it. And in order to remove it, I have to remove that, all that, the entire dash, and the steering wheel. Makes no sense, but all of this has to come out in order for us to get to that heater core. And the heater core is not small in this thing, it's actually quite big. So I tried to entertain ideas of going up through the dash and cutting a hole, but you can't do that because the heater core is encased in its own case inside the dash. I tried entertaining the idea of going from the front and cutting a hole in the firewall. That's where the blower motor is in the front. You can get access to it. Problem with that is you still have to remove the casing around the heater core. So we're going to have to do this the hard way, unfortunately. And I want to show you what it's about. I'm going to pop the hood. I'm going to show you what's under the hood. So take a look. It's an inline 6 engine, and it's actually in really good shape. You can see that the bay itself is actually in pretty decent shape. There's nothing too much wrong with this. It all looks like it's in pretty good shape. Everything functions properly. That's where I cut off the hose for the summertime, plugged it up. I've reattached them, and I took this part here off. That's where the other side comes out, and I reattached that a couple days ago just to see exactly where the fluid was coming out. But it's all in pretty good shape. So I'm going to tackle taking apart the dash. If I wanted to go through the blower motor, I'd have to remove the wiper and go right through there, but I'm not going to. So I got to start with removing stuff like this here, and this here, and this here, and then there's bolts here, there's some on the other side, there's bolts underneath. It's going to be a long process. Apparently, for someone who knows what they're doing, this takes about 5 hours. And I have no clue what I'm doing when it comes to the dash of this particular vehicle. It's all new to me. So it's going to be a bit of trial and error. So I will update you as I go along. Alright, here we got the passenger side kick panel underneath. I'm going after that first. You can see the screws right here. See it? And there's one here. There's supposed to be one here, but this is an old car and I don't expect everything to be in place. So I'm going after that next. Alright, so you see that's a start. There's the kick panel is off. And if you look, this case right up in here, every time I put my hand in there it changes colors. I'm just gonna get the screwdriver, maybe that'll help. Right here, this case with the vent here, if you can see that, that's exactly what we're looking at. That's the case that houses the heater core. So I have to try and figure out a way to get to that without removing this dash. I mean, I will if I have to, but if I can figure out a way to do that without removing the dash, I am definitely going to do that. My next step is going to try to remove the center console right here and get rid of all this, because as soon as I get rid of that, I'm going to be able to have a really good view of what my options are later on. So my next step is going to be removing the parts of the glove box here, and then I'll remove the center console and see where we're at from there. Okay, I've got the glove box loose. I'm just going to have to deal with this cloth that's in here to take this off. I want to take the liner off and see what's inside here. This is all opened up once you get the liner out. Then I got the two vents out, and there's two screws right here and here to get to the center console. So I'm going to do that next. Alright, as you can see, there was a cover panel here. That was this thing right here. There was an ashtray down here and the radio here. There's the radio there. Now normally all the connections come off pretty easy, but one thing that looks like it's kind of hardwired in is this wire here. And I followed it all the way around and it comes out in the bloody glove box here, and it turns out that my old stereo is not that old. Looks like it's made for an iPhone or an iPod or something like that, which I don't have, so it doesn't matter to me. Anyways, that's where I'm at now, and I have a little more access to what's going on in behind here. Hopefully once I get this console out, I'll have enough access that maybe I can fix what's going on with it in its position rather than removing this whole dash. But that's where we're at. I'm still working on the top piece up here. I'll get there in a few minutes. I just got to grab the right set of pliers to get that little pin. See that little pin back there? If you can. Yeah, so right back there. I'm using my screwdriver. Right back there. That pin right there. That's got to come out. Then this whole thing will pop off. Make my life a little easier. There you go. Never know what you're going to find in your car when you start pulling it apart. Some kind of wrapper of looks like candy or something like that back there. There's like Tinnerman nut on the bottom there, and then I found these two quarters just up underneath in here. Anyways, carrying on. Alrighty then, there's the center console. I took this off. It'll go right back on again. It's not a big deal. Just like that. So this is off. The plugs are disconnected. Here's the plugs here. These bastards are really hard to put on, which is good, I guess. I'm going to remove this as the control for the fan that goes up in there. But as you can see, center console is gone now. Now I should be able to see, maybe not get to, but at least see what my problem is at this point, because a lot more of this is opened up to me now. I will check back with you and give you an update as I'm going along here. Alright, you see where I'm at now. The part that I need to get to is right up. I don't know if you can see my blade here at all. No? Let's take a look. It's right up inside this little box. See, the little plastic piece that I was going to show you earlier has an O-ring on the back side and the front side. My guess is the O-ring's gone. That piece just sits in there under pressure. That's all it does. And I think the O-ring's gone, because every time I step on the gas, everything goes faster. The fluid pumps out. So I think my next step is going to be, well, right now where I'm at is, you can see everything that I've done. My next step is going to be prying this little cover out. This whole thing is one piece. And it has these little tangs right down in here. There's 4 of them. Right here, these little things, if my camera would focus at all. There's 4 of these things. And I can't find my little pick to get in there and pull it up so this can all pop out. So like any good mechanic, you improvise. So of course, we go with the micro screwdrivers and anything else we can find that'll fit in there. I'll update you in a couple minutes. Alright, so I got this out from, this goes here, but upon removal, I was wondering why this never worked. Now I know. If you look, this here is supposed to be attached there. You can see where that's all broken in there. And that's no good. So I will figure out a way to make that work once it goes back together. This is a little vent to open up, of course, and close. If you want air, you don't want air in your face, that sort of thing. That's what that's for. Anyways, that's where we're at. That's what I'm looking at. I wanted to get to the back side of the dash there and see if there's anything I need to get to in order to take the dash out, because that's the next step. Alright, carrying on. Alright guys, quick update. What I am doing now is, you can see that the dash is partially loose. It's not loose completely yet, but it's partially loose. It's obviously stuck on something down here, and I'll figure it out in a few minutes. But anyways, the dash is partially loose. So what I've done is I've taken the covers off the speakers here, and see these bolts back here? If I can get in focus, there. Those bolts, there's one here, and there's one, you can see it on this side. Those have to come out, and then we'll see where we're at. That's my next step. Now, I'm not going to go too much further today because I do have stuff to do. But this is a project, so slowly, step by step, this is what we're going to be doing. I'm going to throw anything of importance, like the stereo, probably in the trunk because nobody can get to it. But yeah, that's where I'm at the moment. The instrument cluster is coming out, although obviously there is something underneath in the back that's attached to it. The instrument cluster itself is not being held back by anything like a clip or anything, but there's like maybe a cable, like I don't know if this is electronic speedometer and odometer, or if this is an actual physical cable that I have to unscrew. It feels like a cable. I mean, the thing's holding on pretty hard. So at the moment I can only pull it out so far. It won't come out much further than this. So once I pull the dash out a little bit, maybe I'm not too sure that I have to remove the steering wheel, but we'll see. I mean, I'm just trying to do the minimum possible to get to, of course, my piece down there. We'll see, step by step. I'll learn this as I go. I'll probably look at a video for removing the instrument cluster properly once I'm done this and I clean up my stuff for the day. But that's where we're at. It's what a pain in the ass, but that's where we're at right now. And I will get back to you guys.